that wasn't supposed to
I
come
don't
like
think
that.
you were supposed to do that. Oh boy.
First person that made one with holes in it was Kilgore. John Kilgore. He was the inventor of that. You know.
He's making this widget. It makes magic happen. Parts everywhere you can put parts.
Do these glasses make me look fat?
Got up early this morning, left Michigan 5 a.m. to get down here to Rossler Transmission. Carl's going to go through my my transformer. We're actually leaving Aiden's to get built into one. Mine's just getting a fresh and basically a go through. Hopefully everything's good in there. So we can get the car back together because we got to head to Florida. But so we're gonna try and get Carl. He does not like being on camera. We're gonna try and get him to talk a little bit, give us some little tidbits information. Because I mean, the dude is an innovator. Like, I mean, so much of the development, people copied his designs for things to make things better because he's innovated the industry. You got a transmission that was built, a turbo 400 that was built to hold a couple hundred horsepower and now holds 5,000 horsepower. So a lot of innovation had to happen to get to that point, and Carl's one of the front runners in developing that stuff. So we'll get inside, take a look at everything.
Different range of years, and but that's all comes down to the park, and you get guys that are like, "Oh, I'm pissed off because my park don't work right." But you know, hey,
right,
you got to give up something to get something. Yeah.
So obviously that.
So you couldn't fit anything bigger in there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, you look at the size different. You sacrifice how well it goes into park on the Pro Jacks.
Yeah, you just have to follow
fit more
the
gear.
rules.
So
The park fall fits, and normally on these, it fits in the castles, and it seems to drop in a lot easier. When you're on the holes, it kind of slides over and goes right over top of it when it's spinning pretty fast. So if you start it up in the air, you have to have it in neutral. If you have it in park and it's sitting right here, and you start it up, the momentum of the trying to drive forward will spin the drum and it'll slide right over it. And once it does, it never goes back in the hole. We've had two customers that actually were lucky enough to have it go back in the hole while it was spinning. It hit with so much violence it cracked the case. It actually
case?
broke the case.
wow. So there is one of my videos with, this is what Carl's on me about, because there's one of my videos where it's on the Pro Jacks and shut the car off, put it in park, and it's still spinning, or I don't know if it was still running, I don't remember, but I put it in park. Well, then that's what he's saying is that dog didn't grab because there was momentum, so it just basically stayed over there, and once I slowed it down, then could put it in park. So to me, I thought something was broke for a second. That was obviously the face I made.
Yeah.
But
and then what we get from the customer is my brake sticking. I pull the pan down. It's full of metal, and that's why, because the metal comes off the ring gear. It just off the park ball and the ring gear. It just makes sheds metal. So it could stick the trans brake, make everybody's life miserable. The simple rule is don't start it in park in the air when the tires are off the ground, and don't put it back in park while the motor's running. You have to shut the motor off. You have to make sure the wheels stop turning, put it back in park. If you start it again and the wheels are still off the ground, you just put it back in neutral again.
And actually, that's, I think, what happened to mine is I started it in the air in park. I put the park in there, and then I restarted it, and then that park gear wasn't in, and then it was just spinning. So then I thought something broke, actually, as I recall that. So, like I said, there's certain sacrifices when you take something that was designed originally for what, about 200 horsepower from the factory, a turbo 400. What was it? I don't even know.
Had four.
Okay.
Maybe close to 400.
So maybe 400 when they were developed, and now they hold 5,000 horsepower. So thanks to Carl.
Yeah, and the reason why we had to change it, of course, was larger planetaries, more choices for gear ratios, more strength, and you have to sacrifice a little bit with the park. So the customer has to realize that it's a different product and it has to be treated a little differently.
And that's in And what he's talking about is right here. That is it inside here. And here's the park dog. It is right there.
Okay.
There you go. Lesson on park.
All right.
All right, so we're in the back shop, Carl's. This is where the magic happens. Carl doesn't buy his stuff from providers. He makes it all in-house. So we got all kinds of machines back here running stuff. Literally straight down. All kinds of stuff happening. Pieces and parts. How's it going? He's making this widget. It makes magic happen. That guy just screws around over there all day. They haven't figured out what he does yet. But
John Kilgore was the first to make a planetary like that, and everybody grabbed hold of it and produced it. Right now, these type of gears are only made from us or Cone Engineering. We don't sell our product to other people, only in our units. We definitely have a different style. It's a stronger planetary, but we don't sell it unless you buy it in a unit.
well, and you now have every gear ratio almost. Like, is there any gear ratios even missing?
Well, we have more gear ratios than anybody, and we were working on a 147, 126. So it'd be a 147 and a 126 second. It has its merits for some places, but right now, we're so busy that it's hard to produce it. We already have it drawn up, and we can make it.
Yeah, but essentially, I know, like, first gear ratio. I mean, does it start at 147? Because I know basically you've got 52, 53, 54, 55. I mean,
yeah, we have a lot of ratios. So we try to introduce a new one every year or so, but we've been so busy the last few years that it's hard to make a new product. We always improve our product as we go every year, no matter what. Because every year the cars get better, the motors get better, the mechanics get smarter. Guys like you figure out how to make it run better, and you have to be ready for it to take the power. So if we made what we made 20 years ago, it wouldn't even make it one pass. So, you know.
right. Well, and like you said John Kilroy was the first one to do.
John Kilgore. Yeah.
Kilgore was the first one to do this. But when we talk about patents, how many patents do you have, Carl?
I have 2 full patents, and we have a couple in the works right now.
So there you go. I mean, that's the thing. Innovation, rather than copy what everybody else does, Carl innovates what he learns from going through these. So most people play catch up to where Carl's actually the one that leads the charge with development. All right, got the trans on the dyno. Johnny got it all back together. Went through everything. Everything was good inside. So obviously precautionary deal, but he did swap out the clutches. No other big changes, but gonna run it on the dyno, make sure it's all good, and then we should be able to load it up and get out of here. Oh yeah, I moved the muffler out yesterday. That's what he said. Let's see the hole on top. Now it sounds like a hot rod engine. Go ahead. Good to go? Yep. There you go. That was super technical. Not sure what happened. Johnny said that was good. Perfect. This is actually Kyle Morris, Steve's son's car. So I think he got in the 8s with this. I think LS turbo deal. Did this have a Ford motor in it before or an LS, Bobby? Do you know?
I never saw it, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it had an LS in it. But so upgrades that came over. It's been sitting out back for a little bit, and he sent over a 9-inch rear end, a different 9-inch he wants to go in it. It's got an unserted 850 cage in it. He wants it to be a 25.5, so a 750 serted cage at weight. Different shock setup, different suspension setup, put in some boxes, some mini tub kit, I don't know, some miscellaneous crap that needs to be done. Hopefully we can get that stuff knocked out and back to him and pretty soon. But that's what we got with the Mustang. Winter 2022 issue is out right now. It features Miles of Mayhem, the Canadian Drag and Drive event, also Carolina Drag Cruise. Subscribe now and you will get this issue. Coffee table piece, book, whatever you want to call it, subscribe and get it. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna put it up on those.
I was gonna put it up on them and then put the jack under and jack it up in, but
Can't jack it up in. You gotta tilt it down and then back.
who's the idiot that designed this? Okay. Now you should be able to at least pick it up and get it into that corner and go from there.
Yeah, we're sitting on the
Whatever you do, don't forget to take that out before you put the engine in because it's a problem. I am installing the gear vendor overdrive and then the trans mount that actually bolts to the gear vendor, but we have misplaced the bolts and now these bolts aren't really working so good. Then I'll put the drive shaft in, put the enclosure back together, and Rick is probably at Steve's right now picking up the motor, so he'll be a few more hours before he gets back here and we will be installing that motor. In time lapse we've whipped that transmission in about 5 seconds, but yeah, drive shaft, enclosure, transmission, and now we're going to work on the converter, changing the stator.
It's where magic happens. So one thing we noticed with the little bit on Sick Week, I tried to loosen up the stator so that to try and make it more forgiving on any track. Well, the problem is that it was a little too forgiving and like it was a little too loose. The negative to that wasn't necessarily the on track, it's when we did the street drive that it wanted to boil over, and I think because it's just slipping, we can't get it to, it's not a lockup, so it won't officially lock up, but it'll get tight on the street drive, and then usually runs pretty cool, but ours was overheating. So I called Joe at Pro Torque and asked him to send me my old stator, which I thought I had, but I guess I didn't. So now the air compressor kicks in. But they mark these, like, for example, this is So 1655. So basically I think that means that there's 16 blades and they're on a 55-degree angle. How all this magic works? I don't know. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So it's locked to the left, spins to the right. Just always remember that. And that's the hardest part when you go to take them apart and put them back together. You see all these fins, the angle of the fins, the amount of the fins, like all of that is the magic in these. How anybody's ever figured it out is beyond me. And try and put it back together the opposite way you took it apart. You got an oil catcher thingy-mabobber back here?
Underneath where you're working.
I have to relook at the tape and see where I took that from. That's great. Broke that. Break into the bobby kit of stars. Better. Oh yeah, look at that. Don't even have to goober it together for the bobby ones. Jeez. Bobby.
Now, look what Tom did to them things. He kind of dumps it on me to get them out now. He freaking wrecked them, dude. You ask why there's no music in the background, it's because Brian makes us turn it all off.
I'm sure there's a science to this. One that I don't know.
Bonus check.
Want to get apart?
Yeah. I didn't take anything apart, but
Oh, it's hot.
it's warm. This top thing comes off. Now you gotta unring it. It's got a snap ring in there. Right there.
The snap ring?
You got some chunks of poop in there, don't you? Yeah, it's a snap ring. ID snap ring.
Sure that's ringed, or does that just line up in there?
Oh, right here is a spiral lock ring right here. You gotta pop it out, and then it uncoils itself and comes out. Why are you taking it? Oh, you gotta put the sprag in the other
Put
one.
it in here.
Yeah. Yes. Just pop that one corner right there. Tom, tell us what you're doing right now. I just wanted to say that.
Take this shit out and put it in the other one.
No. there's a little foot in it.
It was right there.
Right there. So you gotta pop it this way. Oh,
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to
I
come
don't
like
think
that.
you were supposed to do that. Oh boy. I should have stuck to letting you wreck stuff and bent some more metal. Okay, that's it. Alright, where's that snap ring you took out? Like,
It was laying under there.
hold that together. They need a thing on this ring here that says do not remove.
You idiot.
You idiots. Alright, let me have it.
Is that there?
Okay.
Put the genie back in the box.
Alright, where's the new one?
It's the blade setup that we had on there versus what we're putting on there. Something went through here.
That looks like a weld. That nothing went through there. That's when they were welding, like they struck an arc, and see how it balled up right there?
Gotcha.
That looks like a weld.
Well, that
arc.
might have been the whole problem if we just grind that down, put this back.
'Cause this
together.
thing-
Should be good.
What the hell's going on with that one? Got like an open window there. No, you gonna still leave this in there? Big chunk of metal. At the rate we're going. Yup.
So this was a 1360, so I believe that means 13 blades, 60-degree angle. That's a 1655, so 16 blades.
And what's this gonna do differently than that one does, Tom?
This is my old one set up, so should go back to what it was.
Tom, what happened to this bit that's laying here?
Don't work anymore.
Hammer.
Probably. I think we're where we go now.
Too big.
Maybe.
That one didn't work at all.
And that's how you take the torque converter apart. Screw it up and put it back together again. All right, trans is in, gear vender's in. Bobby, drive shaft in.
Drive shaft's in.
So, are they wet? You guys put
No.
fluid in the tranny,
No
fluid in the gear
fluid yet.
vendor?
No fluid.
Did you drain the gear vendor even?
Yes.
All right, so
Everything's getting fresh.
So that stuff's in. We have to put fluid in. Working on the motor, getting the motor in, and you guys will get to see the update on that. Hopefully we'll get the first start on that for the next video, but for now, that's the trans diagnostics. Take it apart, clean it up. We hope that that converter with the crap we did there, that works. We will find out hopefully here real soon, because we got to get all this done. Bob's got to get some cold tubing made because we changed to the motion throttle bodies. Finally on that, Steve did the different stuff with the bullhorns, so that stuff should be good. And first start, take it to Florida, race it next weekend. There you go.